Welcome to Deep or Nothing with Miss Daisy O, the podcast where we explore the art of deep thinking. Join me as we dive into thought provoking conversations that challenge the surface and uncover the profound truths that shape our lives.
Hi, deep thinkers. How you doing? I hope that you're keeping your body, mind, and soul right. You know what they say, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. And they also say the first wealth is health. I'm sure they also say prevention is better than cure, and the healthy outside starts from the inside. So, I know I won't get a feedback, but I'm choosing to trust you. I think all I'm just saying is I really hope that you're okay. I want to ask a question. When do we decide that one person is more intelligent than the other? Not more knowledgeable or more experienced. I'm not talking more educated. I mean more intelligent. Think about that. Because most of us speak as though intelligence is a ladder. Some people are at the top, some people are in the middle, some people are at the bottom. And somehow we all know where everyone belongs. The smart child, the average child, the brilliant friend, slow friend, the gifted student, the not so gifted student. We hand these labels out with incredible confidence. But I wonder if we have earned that confidence. Because the moment you begin to ask what intelligence actually is, that certainty starts to disappear. I sometimes think intelligence should have remained a noun, not an identity, not a category, not a label, a noun. Something people possess in different forms, something people express in different ways, something people apply to different problems. But somewhere along the line, somewhere along the way, we stopped saying he shows intelligence and we started saying he is intelligent. Notice the difference. One describes an ability, the other describes a person. One leaves room for complexity, the other turns a human being into a category. And once that category exists, rankings become inevitable. Now we need to know who's more intelligent, who is less intelligent, and who belongs where. And I'm not entirely convinced that we know enough about the human mind to make those judgments with the confidence that we do. Because the moment we start asking what intelligence is, another question emerges. What exactly are we comparing? If no two human beings comprehend reality in exactly the same way, if no two people process information identically, if no two minds are carrying exactly the same gifts, then what exactly are we comparing? A musician, a comedian, a filmmaker, a mathematician, a poet, a mother who can read emotions before anybody says a word, a businessman who sees opportunities nobody else sees. Who is the most intelligent? How would you even begin? The truth is that the question starts collapsing under its own weight because what we're really doing is comparing different kinds of strength and then we're pretending that they are the same thing. What society often does is choose a particular type of intelligence and then treat it as the default standard. The ability is most rewarded by schools, the ability is easiest to test, the ability is easiest to measure. And once those become the standard, everyone else gets compared against them. But measurement introduces another problem because what we can measure and what matters most are not always the same thing. Now, before someone says, but intelligence can be measured, I agree. Certain aspects of it can. Pattern recognition, memory, processing speed, logical reasoning, abstract thinking, these things can be measured. But here's the problem: the fact that something can be measured does not mean it is the most important thing. A scale can measure weight, it cannot measure character. A ruler can measure height, it cannot measure courage. An IQ test can measure specific cognitive abilities. It cannot measure wisdom or discipline or resilience or empathy or discernment or even integrity. Yet, some of those qualities determine the outcome of a life far more than intellectual ability. And maybe the evidence is all around us. In everyday life, some of the most intelligent people we know struggle with relationships. Some struggle with procrastination. Some struggle with pride. Some struggle with poor judgment, which suggests something important. Intelligence can solve many problems, but it does not automatically produce wisdom. Intelligence is often the ability to know what can be done. Wisdom is knowing what should be done. Many of the world's greatest failures have not come from a lack of intelligence. They've come from a lack of wisdom, a lack of character, a lack of self control. And maybe that should force us to ask a deeper question. If intelligence alone is not enough, what exactly are we expecting it to do? And this is where the conversation becomes personal for me. Because I know what it feels like to believe intelligence should be enough, to look at what you know, to look at your ability to understand things, to look at your ability to think, and then quietly assume those things should automatically produce results. That somehow life should respond to intelligence, that opportunities should appear, that success should arrive, that achievement should naturally follow. But life has a way of humbling that assumption because eventually you discover that understanding something and living it are not the same thing. Knowing and becoming are not the same thing. Potential and achievement are not the same thing. For years, I measured myself against what I thought my intelligence should have produced. And every time reality did not match the expectation, I judged myself harshly. Maybe some of you know exactly what I mean. You look at your potential, you look at your understanding, you look at what you believe you're capable of, and then you look at your life, and somehow the numbers don't add up. You expected intelligence to do more, to carry more, to guarantee more. But intelligence was never designed to carry that burden. It's a gift, an important gift, but it's not a substitute for discipline or courage or consistency or even action. And maybe one of the most painful realizations in life is discovering that intelligence makes many things possible, but it makes very few things inevitable. This is why I tell parents to be careful. I talk with a couple of friends of mine who are parents, the ones in my close circle, by the way. I tell them, notice your child's abilities. Celebrate their gifts, encourage their strengths, but be careful what you reward because labels can become prisons. The child constantly called brilliant may grow terrified of failure. That child that you constantly call average may stop trying. That child that you constantly call smart may start believing intelligence is their entire value. And that child who isn't called smart may conclude that they have little value at all. And that's a dangerous burden to place on a child because once intelligence becomes someone's primary identity, failure starts feeling personal. Being wrong becomes threatening. Not knowing becomes embarrassing. Learning becomes harder because learning requires something many of us resist, and that's admitting ignorance. The label enters before the identity is formed, and then the child spends years trying to live up a sentence that they never wrote. Maybe we should spend less time telling children what they are and more time helping them discover who they are. And again, maybe our biggest mistake is treating human beings like a ladder. A ladder has rankings, right? You have higher, lower, above, below. But human beings may not be a ladder. We may be a landscape with different terrains, different elevations, with different strengths. If every human being carries a unique combination of abilities, experiences, perspectives, gifts, why do we insist on arranging them on a single ladder? Because that's what most intelligence rankings attempt to do. They turn a landscape into a ladder. The mountain is not better than the river because it's taller, right? And the river is not better than the forest because it's wider. Each serves a different purpose, each carries something different. And perhaps people are exactly the same. If everyone carries something uniquely powerful, then intelligence is not the thing that makes a person special. It is one of many things that can make a person remarkable.
Enjoying the podcast? Follow and turn on notifications for new episodes weekly.
Welcome back to Deep or Nothing with Miss Daisy O. I'd like for you to listen to a few of my friends and what they say about the kinds of activities that makes them feel smartest. Nancy is a problem solver and she just likes to make people's lives easier.
When I help people solve issues, when I'm there to simplify things, make it a lot clearer. Like something could be so huge, so difficult to understand and comprehend. And I like just thinking through the process of it and just simplifying things. I like to help. I don't know, sort of like enjoy when, there are activities going on and I'm very functional. Like I'm helping out here and there. I just love the thrill of it and the fact that people can actually count on me for some things to get some things done, stuff done. So yeah.
Abdullahi Fawale enjoys being in the company of like-minded people and sharing moments with them.
I think the first will be conversation. Conversation with people that are incredibly brilliant, people that know something about almost everything. And more importantly, really smart people that don't make you feel dumb when you're having these conversations and when you're able to ask questions and share certain opinions without you feeling like you're being judged. And then they take their time to explain things to you. The second will be movies. I would say reading, but I'm struggling. But movies, film, especially films that explore human stories. Not all of those action films, but the ones that focus on the human experience and the, complexity of the human experience. It just helps me, understand human beings a little bit better.
Dolapo, on the other hand, loves a good challenge.
I would say I feel smartest when I'm breaking down something confusing for someone else. Like probably when a friend is talk on a problem and I get to connect the dots out loud. I would also say I love learning random stuff just to see how it fits together. Probably if you give me a topic I know nothing about, like let's say how TikTok algorithm works or why some certain things get stuck in the head. I can say by the end of it, I am connecting ideas I never thought were related. So basically, I would say teaching plus curiosity. Yeah.
This is what gives them meaning. So tell me, how can you then measure this? Is it safe to say that because Fawali enjoys being in the midst of like-minded people, he's smarter than Dolapo? Or does it mean that because Nancy enjoys the making people's problems a lot easier, does it make her less smart compared to the other people that we've mentioned or we've listened to? So when did intelligence become a human ranking system? And who decided that one measurable ability should determine how we see ourselves and others? Maybe intelligence was never meant to be a ranking system. Maybe it was simply one gift among many. Valuable, important, worth developing, yeah, but not sufficient to tell us who a person is. Because human beings are more mysterious than our measurements. We're more complex than our categories and far greater than the ladders we built for them. Some of the most impressive people you will ever meet are not those who believe they know everything. They're people who remain curious despite knowing much. So maybe the true intelligent thing to do is to stop asking who is smarter and start asking what each person uniquely carries. Because the answer to that question may tell us far more about a human being than any ranking ever could. Okay, I guess I'll see you next week.
Let's go deep, or not at all.